Friend, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. It's nice seeing everyone here. And it's nice to see everyone who's streaming into our service. It'd be great if you're streaming, why don't you just put Shabbat Shalom in there? No, seriously. Wouldn't you like to get some Shabbat Shaloms from people who are in virtual land?
Absolutely. They can Shabbat Shalom each other too. They're all
They can
there in the
Shabbat
chat.
Shalom each other. I'd like to just see that. It'd be good. I'd like 100 Shabbat Shaloms.
Okay.
Is that... No, you can't log. No one in here. And don't watch. I don't want you watching on the Facebook to see how many people are doing it. We'll see it after the fact. Let's see how persuasive I am. So we are very happy that Brendan Howard is here to lead us in worship. The Blisses are in Salina.
Oh.
I have no idea what they're doing in Salina, but they're doing something. Okay. They're at a folk fest? How did you know that?
Because Harper's taking guitar lessons from me.
And so you know about that.
So now I'm in the know.
You're new now?
They're picking raspberries
and putting up tents. Okay, we got it. Okay, we've gotten that out of our system. Okay, we've gotten it all of our system. So we are going to begin our service on page 6 with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
Friends, we're going to turn to page 7, and let's call upon Carol Barnett to come forward, who will lead us in the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat. May its radiance warm our hearts as we kindle these tapers.
Light is a symbol
Symbol of God's presence in our lives. The Eternal One is our light and our salvation. Light is a symbol of the holiness within each of us. The human spirit is the light of God.
Light is the symbol of the Torah's teachings. The commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is a light.
Light is a symbol of Israel's mission, as it is written, I have made you a covenant people to serve as a light to the nations. Therefore, in the spirit of our ancient tradition that houses and unites Israel, all lands and all ages, we kindle the lights of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. We praise our eternal God, creator of the universe, who hallows our lives through laws and ethical teachings. We are mindful of these timeless values as we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen.
We are going to turn to page 36 and let us rise for the Baruch Hu. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Let us be seated, and let me continue on the top of page 37. Ever-living God, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify of your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, your glory will never depart from us. Help us to be your partners, that we may endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Together, all goodness and truth come from you, O God. May no transgressions estrange us from you, nor self-centeredness darken our vision of your purposes. Help us to recognize that which is just and more fully understand your will. In adversity and in prosperity, may the light of Torah illuminate our path, and may we labor in your service so that our deeds become a living hymn of praise to you. Together, at the top of page 38, infinite as is your power, even so is your love, and may be seen through the history of our people Israel, through laws and ethical precepts, through statutes and ordinances. You have led us in the ways of righteousness and brought us to light of truth. Therefore, at our lying down and our rising up, we will meditate on the Torah's teachings, finding within it the inspiration and guidance for our daily lives. May your love never depart from our hearts. We praise you, God. You've revealed your love through our people Israel. Let's continue with Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael. כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה נגי יומם ולילה באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל.
We continue on page 39 and page 40 with the chanting of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Le'olam Va'ed. You shall love the eternal God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol before your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and on your gates, that you may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy to your God, to your God, to your God.
On page 42, let us read these verses responsively. In truth, the Eternal One alone is our Redeemer. Let us praise the eternal God who gives rest to the weary and hope to the despondent.
Let us ever acknowledge God as our Creator and hold fast to the Torah.
Blessed is Shabbat, the Queen of Days, which offers to our people enrichment of the soul.
Even more than Israel has kept the Sabbath, so the Sabbath has kept our people Israel.
How blessed are those who observe Shabbat, who sanctify it with prayer, with study, and with friendship.
Let us rejoice in our eternal God and delight in the heritage of our people.
May our homes be filled with light and gladness. May our hearts be steadfast, trusting in the Eternal One.
The love of God is our strength.
We continue with Mi Chamocha. We are going to turn to page 45, and we are going to rise as we continue with the Amidah. We praise you, God of our mothers and fathers, God of Abraham, God of Sarah, God of all generations. You bestow loving kindness on your people. You remembered the devotion of those who came before us. And as you guided our ancestors with love, you offer hope to us, their descendants. You are our creator and helper, our guide and protector. We praise the eternal God, shield of Abraham and help of Sarah. Am I davening the Avot?
Yeah.
Is that me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just want to know what the rules are. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah v'Elohei Rachel Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim B'Konei Hakol Mizocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot Umevi Gula Lifnei V'neihem L'man Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah. You may be seated. In the bottom of page 47, let us read together. Infinite is your power, O God. Great is your gift of life. In loving kindness to sustain the world. Endless flow of your blessings, you preserve all of creation. You uphold the falling and heal the sick. Free the captive and keep faith with your people in death as in life. Author of life and death, we praise you, God, the source of eternal life. On page 48, God calls our people Israel to be of service. May we fulfill this charge by exemplifying the Torah's ideals with all those we encounter in our daily lives.
May we have the grace to fulfill our mission with enthusiasm and with joy, always tempered by wisdom and guided by respect for other people's faiths and ideals. May our actions attest to the strength of our ambitions.
May our conduct towards our neighbors, our faithfulness in every sphere of duty, our compassion for those in need, and our patience under trial show that the one whose law we obey is indeed the God of all goodness, the loving creator of all people. This teaches us that to serve God is perfect freedom, and to worship God, the soul's purest delight. Together, may our eyes and minds always be open so that we may see and welcome all truth, whether shining from the wisdom of ancient revelations are reaching us through the prophet of our own time. For God continues to shield light on every generation that will seek the guidance of our eternal one. The people of Israel shall preserve the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath in every generation as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between God and the people of Israel forever. We continue with Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Grant, O God, that we may lie down in peace and that we may rise up again to life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with wise counsel. Be as a shield about us, fortifying us against hatred and war, against pestilence and sorrow. Curb within us the inclination to do evil and enfold us with the embrace of your love. Guide our going out and coming in to life and peace from this time forth and forever. We praise you, God, for you shelter us and all who dwell on earth. We continue with Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, b'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, b'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, b'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, b'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim.
Let us join together on page 51 as we read together at the top of the page. We gratefully acknowledge that the eternal God is our creator, the rock of our life and the shield of our help. We thank God and sing praises for the gift of life itself, for our souls that are ever in God's keeping, for the signs of our Creator's presence that we encounter every day, and for God's wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. Truly our blessings are without end, and God's loving kindness never ceases. Therefore do we forever put our trust in the Eternal One. Let us continue with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Tasim
Leolam.
Let's continue in some moments of private reflection. Friends, let's turn back in our Sidurim to page 10, and let's continue with prayers for those who are ill. Prayer invites God's presence to lift our spirits. It allows the blessing and gift of hope to prevail in our lives. Prayer might not bring water to parched fields and amend a broken bridge nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Together, we pray for all people who are at this hour, are in sickness and want, or in distress of body or spirit. We name in our hearts those who are near to us, in whose pain we feel pain. Let them know your help and feel your presence, realizing that they are not alone. Friends, let us be mindful of those who are ill within our community and ill in our world, those who are struggling mentally, physically, spiritually, and let us be mindful of them and offer our best thoughts and prayers to them. And if you'd like to name someone here that you are thinking of this evening, I'd ask you to do so. I'll start over here and work our way over. Anyone? What'd you say? Okay. Okay. Anyone? Yeah.
Laura Johnson.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We continue with Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
A rabbi can take an easy way out this Friday night. This Torah portion of Shalach Lecha is one of the most consequential stories in the entire religious history of the Jewish people. 12 spies are sent into the land to find out the state of the land of Canaan, to find out geographically, demographically, militarily, what is the state of this land. Will the Israelites be able to conquer the land? And therefore, 12, noblemen, very important people from each of the tribes, are sent to survey the land. And it takes them 40 days to do it. They go up and down throughout the land. They make observations. And eventually, these 12 tribes, the 12 spies, return. And 10 say that it is impossible to conquer the land, that the land is filled with giants, and the people see themselves as grasshoppers, and fear captures the entire community. 2, Caleb and Joshua, say, we certainly can do this. The report of the 10 creates chaos, and in the end, the fate of Israel is decided, and we know the fate. In the end, the generation who came out of Egypt must die off, and a new generation must enter the promised land. In other words, everyone who came out of Egypt, except for Caleb and Joshua, will die off, because there needs to be a new generation that isn't filled with the same fears or lack of faith that is part of the generation that left Egypt. It's a painful story. A story of fear, of disappointment, of defeat. The Israelites end up being their own worst enemies, and their failure to meet the challenge of the hour is catastrophic. That's the dominant theme of the portion, and that's the easy way out for a rabbi. I'm going to take the more difficult way out, okay? I'm just doing it because I've looked over so many decades of giving messages on Shalach Lecha, and I'm tired of that message. Okay, so I decided, let me do something that is so from left field at the New Reformed Temple. I said, let me do it. At the very end of the Torah reading, at the very end, there is this portion that is very critical to the Jewish people. It's the mitzvah of wearing a talit. I wear one, and a talit is, I'll get to you what the talit is. A talit is a prayer shawl. And what makes it a prayer shawl is that it has these fringes on the corner of the garment. I'll get to that in a moment. So the Torah tells us the following. The Lord said to Moses as follows, "Speak to the people of Israel and tell them to make for themselves fringes, tzitzit, on the corners of their garments throughout the generations. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner." We're going to leave that out for a moment because that gets you into another whole discussion. But just say that tzitzit originally had blue, and some people think you should bring back the blue, but again, let's keep that on the side. That shall be, you're pulling out your tzitzit, right? That has blue in it. Aren't you proud of yourself? You're so proud of yourself. Okay, keep it to yourself. Okay, you're feeling good. It's good. Okay, look what you made me do. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at the corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all of Adonai's commandments and observe them so that you do not follow your heart and eyes and be seduced or led astray. And then the ending is, thus you shall be reminded to observe all of my commandments and to be holy to your God. I, Adonai, am your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, your God. That's the end of our Torah portion. Now the talit is, according to this, to be a regular part of Jewish life, not something that is unique. And Rabbi Lisa Gelber, I was looking for some kind of wonderful explanation of this, and she offered a beautiful one where she says, each morning at the beginning of the Shema, we physically gather the tzitzit from the four corners of our talit, meaning you take this one, you take this one, you take this one, and you put it together. That's what you do at the beginning of the Shema. And it demonstrates our hope that God will bring us all together in safety and in wholeness from the four corners of the earth and lead us with uprightness and dignity. Especially bring Jews from the four corners of the world, but really to bring all the world together in a sense of oneness and unity. And by utilizing the tzitzit, these fringes become an educational tool, integrating thought and action. They are the means by which we demonstrate our commitment to all of the commandments. We don't really think about the tzitzit, read the text. God instructs us to look at them literally, to examine their composition, to remember God's mitzvot, and to do them. And with regard to this verse, our rabbis in the Talmud says, seeing leads to remembering, and remembering to doing. So this idea of seeing it, and then remembering the commandments, and then by remembering the commandments, you'll do the commandments. It's an educational tool. The talit calls us to awareness. It is a tangible cue of our responsibilities and commitment, a sign of actions incumbent upon all Jews. The rabbis held, and this is what the Talmud says, that the mitzvah of the tzitzit is equally important to all of the other commandments, which is a major statement. By enclosing ourselves, by enwrapping ourselves in a talit, we are making a statement that we have or in search of a relationship with God. And at the end of the parsha, it says we are commanded to look at the tzitzit. And the Hebrew is so interesting. It says, it's not in this prayer book, okay? It says, lo taturu. It says, you shall not wander. But it literally means, in modern Hebrew, to tour. So what they're saying is, when it comes to the commandments, don't become a tourist, passively engaging in Jewish life. Don't just look around Judaism. Get in the middle of Judaism. Make it part of your life. In the Talmudic discussions, our rabbis teach us that all Jews are obligated to fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzit, including those who have chosen Judaism, women, household workers, everyone. And from this perspective, tzitzit become a symbol of participating in the community. Now, here's something interesting. In addition, that you've heard of gematria. Every Hebrew letter has a numerical value. So when you add up the numerical values of tzitzit, and then you add the number of knots and strands, according to Jewish tradition, they all add up to 613, which means the 613 commandments. So basically what it's saying is, I'm a Jew, I understand and embrace the values and traditions of our people, and commit to carry out those blessings with me as I move forward in life. Now, it's a daytime mitzvah, but it is customary on Friday night to wear the talit if you are leading worship. And the only exception to that is Kol Nidre night, you're supposed to wear a talit. I told you this isn't as easy as talking about the spies. I should have taken that path, but I didn't. For a very specific, interesting reason. Reform Jews are so crazy about this mitzvah. They have an allergy to it. Let me give you how far the allergy goes. Traditionally, the Shema has 3 paragraphs. Do me a favor. Open up your prayer book for a moment and turn to page 40. Okay? And it is rather interesting that if you look in this, there is no, where's the tzitzit? This is the story of, this is the Shema, and the paragraph that we just read is absent, even though traditionally it should be there. So I went and decided to look at the New Reform prayer book, and so I opened it up to page 36. This is not, we don't use it, but sometimes some people say we should. And we look at it, and again, it isn't there. What is the problem? What's happened? Why are we so scared of it? No mention of tzitzit. And in the morning service of this Siddur, they have it as an alternative. Why was it removed? Because somehow the early Reformed Jews thought it was too Jewish. Tradition, they thought the tradition was quote unquote outdated, even embarrassing. I'm not embarrassed wearing the talit. They didn't want to look too orthodox. The early reformers in both Europe and the United States rejected the need for visible identifying signs of being Jewish. According to Rabbi David Phillipson in his book, The Reform Movement in Judaism, in 1845, a number of rabbis stopping in Berlin on their way home from one of the founding Reform conferences of Reform Judaism in mid-19th century Germany wrote down suggestions for reform of the synagogue service. And among them was the discontinuance of the use of the talit, and therefore also the tzitzit. And this was echoed in the Pittsburgh Platform of 1885. It's no wonder then that the early reformers eliminated most of this paragraph from the Shema. Now, I'm not only a rabbi, I am a religious anthropologist. I try to look at the tradition as objectively as I can, even though I'm a participant in it, and have some strong opinions about it. And this is what has happened in this own congregation. My first Shabbat 12 years ago, I got up before the service with a kippah and wearing a talit. I thought nothing of it. And as you remember, I was only going to be here a year, so I didn't really care what people thought. And one of the original members came up to me after the service and he said, "Rabbi, didn't anyone tell you that we don't wear a talit here?" And I said, no, no one told me, and I wouldn't have listened anyway. At the very beginning of my rabbinate, we had very few b'nai mitzvah and b'not mitzvah. The number has increased over time. And here's what's interesting. In the last 3 b'nai mitzvah, we've had 3 in the last month or so. Last month. Each child has worn a talit and a kippah. Now, I'm not sure that what they're going to do with the talit and the kippah after, I'm not altogether sure that they see it as something that's going to be an ongoing obligation every time they come to services on a Jewish holiday, for example, in the morning, or on a service in Shabbat morning, whether they will wear it. But the fact of the matter is that somehow becoming it has become important. Wearing it has become important. We did this wonderful innovation somehow. Somehow it's changed. And we did this wonderful change in our venue here. It really an incredible process. And it really, we're 13 months into it, and it really has made a difference. But when the process was taking place, I was on the committee. And generally, I'm outspoken. I wasn't that outspoken, okay? Because, it's not Rabbi Londy's synagogue. It's a New Reformed Temple synagogue. So, but there was something that I wanted to suggest, and I never did it. I was thinking to myself, it'd be great to have like a piece of furniture out there that had a kippah in it in a talit. And I decided, I'm not going to push that one. That's not in my best interest to do that, even though I tell you I should have in my own mind. So then I have this guy here named Glenn Young, who is always trying, I got his permission to talk about him, so I'm not embarrassing him. So who's always trying to find a way to affirm more Judaism. Wouldn't you say that's correct? And so Glenn always talks to me, he said, Rabbi, when is it appropriate to wear the talit, and when isn't it appropriate to wear it? And we kind of go back and forth in it. So, and of course, it's a personal choice. Now, where am I going with this? We are a very liberal Reform synagogue. And our ethos, our philosophy, when it comes to really anything, is that we're opposed to religious coercion of any kind. We value choice and we value diversity. And that's part of Reform Judaism, but I think it's something that's really important here. There is such a variety of Jewish affirmations that are in our congregation, even our sanctuary tonight. It just reflects who we are. But it seems to me that if Reform Judaism is to remain vital and relevant, it must be open to religious experimentation. A hunger exists, and it's not just through my informal interaction, but I think it's part of the general understanding of Jewish sociologists in America, that millennials and Generation X Jews hunger for something that the classic Reform Jews didn't want. They are looking for something that feels more Jewish. And people seek out Chabad, which is fine, not because of its ideology. Rather, they do it because it has a traditionalism that is appealing. It looks and feels Jewish to them. They don't know the philosophy, and if they knew the philosophy, they might question it, because some of their philosophy, I think, I believe to be problematic. I'm not fighting with them, but I don't always agree with what they think, and I think most Jews don't really understand what they think. But people go to Chabad. It says 38% of people, American Jews, have some contact with Chabad, and I think the reason is there's some traditionalism there. It's not sterile. It looks Jewish. Reformed Jews of an earlier generation wanted a very American Judaism, but in our time, where Jews feel comfortable in their acceptance in America, many seek a return to the richness of Jewish observance. I like autonomy, but let us not be afraid of tradition. I think it's a mistake that the Reform movement has to take out the half of the third paragraph of the Shema because somehow they're embarrassed with the idea that there is a tradition that says you should wear a tzitzit. Now, if you don't want to wear a talit, fine. There's a lot of things as a Jew I don't do. I don't brag about it, but it's an option there. There are a lot of things that we can choose or not to do. That's fine. That's Reform Judaism. That's pluralism. That's choice. But you have to censor the tradition so we can't examine it if we want to. I am so opposed to liturgically what the Reform Judaism has done on this issue. In fact, I think it's an embarrassment, and it makes us look as if we're anti-Jewish, which we're not. Boy, I'm stating this much strongly than I intended to do that. But you know something? It's, as you know, I have less than 12 months now. Well, what's going to happen? I'm never going to speak on Shalach Lecha again. I feel so liberated, I don't know what to do. I'm never going to come down from this. But let's not be afraid of tradition. Let's cultivate a community where we can stand together, each embracing traditions in our own way. A Judaism of diversity and richness is a thriving Judaism. No one way of being Jewish is the right way. I think that's what this congregation stands for. Let us all find for ourselves our right path. Judaism is a big tradition, and there is a place for all of us in it. Shabbat Shalom. Boy. Are we ready to go on?
Sure.
Page 368, let us rise for the adoration. Let us adore the ever-living God. We offer praise unto you who spread out the heavens and established the earth. Your glory is revealed in the heavens above, and your greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, and there is none else. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You may be seated. Together on page 369. May the time not be distant, O God, when you shall be worshipped throughout the earth, when unbelief shall disappear and error be no more. Fervently we pray that the day may come when all people shall be guided by your teachings. Corruption and evil shall give way to purity and goodness. Superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. Then all who dwell on earth shall know that to you alone every knee shall bend and every voice give praise. May all created in your image recognize that we are brothers and sisters, so that one in spirit and one in harmony be forever united before you. Then shall your reign be established on earth, and the word of your ancient prophet be fulfilled. The eternal God will reign forever and ever. On that day the eternal shall be one, and God's name shall be one.
Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad.
Friends, at this time, remember the yurt sites that are part of the permanent memory of our community. Jeanette Barnett, Joseph Edwin Chasnoff, Lawrence Firestone, Bernard Golding, Bertha Kamen, Marjorie Levy, Naomi McCord, Berthold Joseph Newberger, Rose Ripley, Ruth Ronay, Ruth Schwartz, Stanley Schlossberg, William Snower Jr., Albert Strauss, Leonard Wasserman, Michael Wasserman. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith that links the generations of the house of Israel one to another, all who are in mourning and all who are observing yurtzeit rise and are joined together by all the members of our congregation as we recite together the mourner's Kaddish, and let's do it slowly. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich machutei b'chayechon uvyamechon uvchayedachol beit Yisrael. Bagalav izman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mivarach li'olam omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Yeshab Richu, Le'elam and Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechamata, Damiran B'Yoma V'Yimru Amen. Yehesh Lama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'Chayim Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all who are bereaved. And let us say amen. Amen. Please be seated. The Shabbat flowers have been dedicated in memory of Jeanette Barnett by the Barnett families, in memory of Joseph Edwin Chasnoff by Patty Chasnoff, in memory of Naomi McCord by Irv Belzer and Sue McCord Belzer, in memory of Ruth Ronay by Leland and Jill Shurin, in memory of Stanley Schlossberg by Jim and Mary Jo Ward, in memory of Leonard Wasserman by Sarah and Ken Honeck, and in memory of Michael Wasserman by Burke, Maggie, Ruby, and Frank Wasserman. We have a family service next Friday night on June 16th in the Garden from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And are you going to be there?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Okay, so you're competing with us.
No.
Yeah, okay. I'm very competitive. You'll be competing with us, and you have something that we don't have. You have pizza at the end.
That's true.
So we're doomed.
And arts and crafts.
No, the arts and crafts is a whole other topic.
Oh.
Okay. So, but we just wanted to announce that family service, young family service. Religious school registration is now open. There's a joint Shabbat service July 14th with Kol Ami and B'nai Yehuda at 6 p.m. at the Camper Museum. And Mitzvah Day is August 27th. Now, I want to make also a special announcement. The Rabbinic Search Committee is hosting a series of focus groups to get input from the congregation, and Glenn Young and Daniel Morell and Martha Gershon, all three of them who are here, are gathering information from those that attend synagogue regularly. And if you are a temple member and like to participate, there will be a focus group at the synagogue this Tuesday, June 13th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can sign up with Martha, who's in the rear of the congregation at the Onik Shabbat tonight, and give her your name and email address. And if you're not going to do that now, people, especially people who are streaming, just call the congregation on Monday, and I'm sure we can connect you with Martha and put you on the list. And that announcement is from Martha. That's what we're doing. And immediately following services, we'll join outside for our Onik Shabbat. And we thank again Glenn, who was so dedicated to making the Onik Shabbat happen and setting it up. And I think we need to find some volunteers so he doesn't have to do it every week. So if you want to be part of that volunteer committee, you can talk to me. Because I don't want him to have to do it every week on his own. Okay, so thank you, Brendan, for leading us in service this evening. And it's wonderful that you're able to participate and lead us in such a beautiful way. So let's turn to page 429 and conclude our service with Oseh Shalom Bimramav.
Oseh Shalom Bimromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al
Shabbat shalom to everyone. Let's join out in the foyer, outside for the Onik Shabbat. I have to tell you something. No.
It's nice outside too. I don't know. Must have added something in.
Doesn't matter at all, but I find it fascinating.
Okay, you want to go out and then we'll come back in and get our stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, the one who was talking about her husband making glasswares?
No, the one that was wearing the green dress, the black man. She was singing so loud too.
Because the worst is when people want to sing, but then they're afraid to. I'm like, oh, that's always.
I just mumble.
You're just a mumbler.
I'm a mumbler. I'm a mumbler.
Okay. I put everything back in the same place so that I don't have to worry about it next time I do music.
Oh, how do you get out?
See, get out of the house, get a little energy.
I get my energy out in my room. I do. I'm like in my room, like, ugh. Oh, Jesus.
And you run into the wall.
Yeah. Ugh.
Muszę wygerować, a nie ma. Myślę na to za.